The planet stretched out like a jagged emerald, with cliffs and rocky plains catching the dim glow of a greenish sky. Captain Elena Hart adjusted the controls of her hovering scout vehicle, her eyes scanning the horizon through the transparent visor. Years of exploring new worlds had taught her that silence could be deceptive. A planet that seemed empty could hide wonders, dangers, or even life waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. She had learned to trust not just her instruments, but her instincts, the quiet feeling in her chest that often whispered when something unusual was near. Today, that feeling came stronger than ever. Her crew moved carefully behind her. Lieutenant Marcus, her second-in-command, adjusted the sensor array, his face lit by the soft blue glow of the equipment.
"Captain, I'm not picking up any life forms. No movement. No energy signatures."
"It looks completely barren." His voice carried the usual mix of professionalism and disbelief that came from relying too heavily on instruments rather than intuition.
Elena didn't reply. She had learned long ago that sometimes the most important things were invisible to machines. A soft sound caught her attention, almost like a distant whistle carried on the wind. It was faint, so quiet that it could have been a trick of her mind. She frowned and listened. There it was again, a delicate, pleading sound, high-pitched, almost musical. She looked around the rocky terrain, her gaze narrowing. Her crew noticed her pause.
"What is it, Captain?"
Marcus asked.
"I'm not sure," Elena said, her voice calm but firm.
"It's not showing on our sensors. Stay alert."
She moved toward the source of the sound, her boots crunching on the rocky soil. The sound seemed to shift as she walked, like it was leading her somewhere. Her heart quickened. She had encountered many alien species in her career, and the intuition she was feeling was familiar. This was a life form in distress, calling for help in a way only some beings could understand. The jagged cliffs opened into a small valley, partially hidden from the sky. Elena slowed, scanning the shadows. A faint glow flickered near a cluster of rocks. She crouched and moved closer. There, huddled behind the stones, was a small figure unlike anything she had ever seen. It was a child, or at least child-sized, with luminous skin that shimmered between soft blues and purples. Its large, round eyes glimmered in the dim light, reflecting fear, pain, and hope, all at once. The child raised its tiny hands, trembling. "Please, help my mother," it whispered, a sound that somehow reached her mind directly, bypassing language and barriers. Elena's breath caught. She looked at her crew. They stared, unsure what to do. The instruments showed nothing. No heat signatures, no readings. Yet here was a living being, calling out for help in a voice that touched something deep inside her. She knelt slowly, careful not to frighten it. I'll help," she said softly. "Where is she?" The child hesitated, then gestured with a trembling hand toward a dark cave hidden behind a cluster of jagged rocks. Elena followed the motion, her crew trailing behind reluctantly. The cave mouth was small, almost swallowed by the rocky wall, but inside, the glow from the child's skin illuminated a horrifying sight. The child's mother lay entwined with alien plants, her body partially fused with vines that pulsed with a faint bioluminescent light. Her breathing was shallow, and she seemed trapped, unable to free herself. Marcus stepped forward, but Elena held up a hand. "Careful," she warned.
"This isn't just a rescue mission. The plants, they're alive."
"Watch how they react." She crouched and examined the strange vegetation. It moved subtly, almost like it was breathing in rhythm with the alien's body. She realized that any sudden motion could harm her or the alien. With a careful hand, she activated her portable medical drone. It hovered silently, scanning the alien mother and the parasitic plants. The screen displayed complex readings, but the drone couldn't tell her how to free her. That would require intuition, empathy, and courage, qualities humans possessed that no machine could replicate. Elena turned to the child. "Stay here," she said gently. "I'll get your mother out." The child's glowing eyes widened, and it nodded, gripping her small hands together. Elena began her work slowly, separating the alien from the vines with delicate movements. The plants resisted, tightening in places where they had merged too deeply with the alien's skin. She applied a solution from her medical kit that softened the vines without harming the alien. Hours seemed to pass as she worked, her crew watching in awe, realizing for the first time that some problems could not be solved with force, only with care and understanding. Finally, the mother was freed. She lay on the ground, her chest rising and falling with effort. The child crawled forward and wrapped its tiny arms around her, glowing softly in relief. Elena allowed herself a small sigh, but she knew the danger wasn't over. The mother was weak, and the alien ecosystem seemed delicate and unstable. Any misstep could result in her collapse, or worse. As they worked to stabilize the mother, the child communicated more clearly, images and emotions flowing into Elena's mind. She saw glimpses of the Varelian species, a peaceful society connected telepathically to their world, their survival intertwined with the delicate balance of the planet. The child's fear and urgency were a warning. If humans failed, this life could be lost forever. The storm outside the cave began to pick up. Jagged bolts of lightning streaked across the green sky, illuminating the rocky cliffs in eerie flashes. The wind howled, shaking loose rocks and dust. Elena realized they had little time to secure the aliens and herself. She instructed her crew to build a protective barrier using portable shields, their technology merging with the cave's natural formations. The mother alien remained unconscious, but the child hummed softly, a soothing, calming melody that seemed to stabilize her. Through the night, Elena remained vigilant. She marveled at the child's bravery. Despite its small size and fragile body, it had led her to its mother, trusted her implicitly, and communicated complex ideas through a language beyond words. She understood that this child represented more than just a life to be saved. It symbolized the potential of humanity to connect with the unknown, to extend empathy where no one else could. By dawn, the storm had passed, leaving the cave bathed in a strange, ethereal light. The mother alien stirred, blinking luminous eyes at the humans and her child. The reunion was quiet, but profoundly emotional. The mother's gratitude radiated in colors and gentle telepathic pulses, something Elena could feel in her chest. She realized then that humans had a unique role in the universe, not just as explorers or conquerors, but as beings capable of understanding, compassion, and courage. The child climbed into Elena's lap, its tiny hands reaching for hers. She held it carefully, sensing the trust and bond forming between them. She knew their mission was just beginning. There were questions to answer. How to heal the mother fully, how to ensure the child's species could survive, and how to navigate a universe filled with beings who might not understand the value of life the way humans did. As she looked out from the cave, seeing the jagged cliffs and distant green plains, Elena felt a renewed sense of purpose. The galaxy was vast, full of danger and mystery, but also full of opportunities for humans to rise to the challenge, to listen, to help, and to prove their worth in ways no technology could measure. She smiled softly at the child, who mirrored her smile with its glowing face. "We'll make sure your mother is safe," she whispered. "And I'll help you both, no matter what comes." The child's glow brightened, and for a brief moment, Elena felt the entire cave filled with warmth, hope, and possibility. She knew that in the vast darkness of space, humans could shine, not with weapons or machines, but with empathy, courage, and the willingness to hear a cry for help when no one else could. And as the sun rose over the jagged cliffs, painting the planet in pale green light, Elena Hart felt that first spark of a journey that would change not just her life, but perhaps the fate of an entire species. Elena carefully guided the alien child away from the cave, its tiny hand wrapped in hers as they moved through the rocky terrain. The storm had left the cliffs slick and treacherous, and even with her years of experience, she had to watch every step. The child's small body was fragile, but it moved with surprising determination, pulling Elena forward as though it knew exactly where they needed to go. The alien mother followed slowly behind, still weak but conscious now, her luminous eyes shifting between fear, curiosity, and cautious hope. Elena set up a temporary shelter at the edge of the valley, using collapsible panels from their scout vehicle to form a protective dome. It wasn't much, but it would shield them from the unpredictable weather patterns that seemed to sweep across the planet without warning. The alien mother settled inside, her body glowing faintly as it responded to the child's presence. Elena noticed the subtle color changes, the mother's skin pulsing from soft blue to gentle violet, each shift reflecting emotion and health. She realized she was observing a species that communicated as much with light and energy as with sound, and it fascinated her. She knelt beside the child and spoke softly. "We need to make sure your mother is safe. Can you help me understand what she needs?" The child's glowing eyes brightened and images began to flow into Elena's mind. She saw visions of their home, distant forests and crystalline rivers that shimmered under twin suns. She saw dangers too. Diseases, predatory creatures, and the fragile connection the Varelians had with their environment. If the ecosystem was disturbed, it affected the aliens physically. This knowledge felt like a warning, but also a lesson. The human's presence could either heal or harm, and every action mattered. Elena turned to her crew. "We have to be careful. These creatures are more connected to their planet than we are. Anything we do affects them. We need to observe and help, not interfere blindly." Marcus nodded, a mixture of awe and unease on his face. He had been trained to handle alien life forms with protocols and instruments, but now he realized that none of that mattered here. Compassion and intuition were more important than any tool they carried. Over the next few days, Elena and her team worked tirelessly to stabilize the mother alien. Using medical drones, portable sensors, and their own hands, they cleaned minor wounds, applied healing solutions, and monitored vital signs. But the real breakthrough came from the child. Its telepathic communication allowed Elena to anticipate needs the instruments couldn't detect. When the mother's pulse weakened or the glow of her skin shifted to a deep purple, the child guided Elena to administer treatments or adjust the shelter's conditions. Every small success strengthened the bond between human and alien, and Elena felt a deep pride in their ability to work together across worlds. At night, the child often climbed onto Elena's lap, resting its small head against her shoulder. Through these moments, she felt the depth of the alien mind, glimpsing emotions of love, fear, and hope intertwined in a way she had never experienced with humans. She began to understand that this child represented the future of its species, a bridge between worlds that had never met before. Humanity, she realized, had the potential to protect, to nurture, and to rise to challenges in ways no one else could. One morning, as the twin suns rose faintly through the green sky, the child led Elena to a cluster of plants near the shelter. It gestured and projected images into her mind, healing herbs, minerals, and water sources hidden beneath the rocky surface. She bent down and examined the flora. It was unlike any plant she had cataloged. Some had leaves that glowed faintly, pulsing with energy and rhythm with the aliens' bodies. Others released tiny spores that seemed to carry nutrients directly into the air. She carefully collected samples, realizing that these plants were essential to the aliens' recovery. Without them, the mother might never fully heal. As the days passed, Elena's crew began to respect the child's intelligence and courage. They watched it navigate rocky terrain, find water in hidden crevices, and even interact with small creatures that shared the valley. One evening, a predator approached the shelter, a six-legged beast with spiny armor and glowing eyes. The crew froze, but the child didn't hesitate. It emitted a soft, glowing pulse that resonated through the area. The predator hesitated, then retreated. Elena realized that the child's abilities were not only telepathic, but also influential in the environment around them. It could communicate and interact in ways humans could barely comprehend. And yet, with their guidance, humans could amplify these effects.
Elena spent hours documenting everything.
The child's behavior, the mother's healing, the relationship between the aliens and their ecosystem. It was all data. But more than that, it was a lesson in empathy, trust, and responsibility. She realized that this mission was changing her. The universe was no longer a place of distant stars and abstract dangers. It was alive, full of beings who could teach humanity new ways of seeing, feeling, and acting. One night, a sudden tremor shook the valley. Rocks tumbled, and dust filled the air. Elena shouted for her crew to take cover. The child cried out, its glow flaring in fear and urgency. The tremor was not just a natural earthquake. It seemed tied to the alien environment, a warning that their presence had consequences. Elena's heart raced as she realized that the mother's body was affected by the vibrations. She moved quickly, stabilizing her and adjusting the shelter to prevent further harm. The child reached out, linking with Elena's mind in a way that conveyed gratitude and relief. Together, they calmed the mother, using a combination of human ingenuity and alien understanding. The incident left Elena and her crew shaken but determined. They knew that survival here required more than technology. It required respect, patience, and a willingness to learn from the aliens themselves. Every success reinforced their bond, and every misstep reminded them of the stakes. The child's constant presence was a guide, a teacher, and a reminder of the responsibility humanity carried. As the alien mother grew stronger, she began to move independently. Her eyes glowed softly, reflecting emotions too complex for words. She communicated with the child through pulses of light and subtle gestures, creating a rhythm of understanding the humans could sense but not fully replicate. Elena watched in awe, realizing that the Varelians' connection to each other and their world was profound. It was a relationship that humans could admire, learn from, and perhaps even emulate. Conflict arose when a natural phenomenon disrupted the valley. A violent windstorm swept through, carrying shards of rock and dust that threatened to injure both humans and aliens. Elena acted swiftly, commanding her crew to secure the shelter and protect the aliens. The child guided her through hidden crevices and natural barriers that provided shelter. They huddled together as the wind howled. The mother's body pressed close to her child, glowing with a mixture of fear and relief. Elena felt a deep sense of responsibility, knowing that the survival of this species in this moment rested on human choices and actions. After the storm passed, the aliens seemed to recover quickly. The child emitted a soft, joyful glow, and the mother's skin shifted from violet to calm blue. Elena smiled, feeling a sense of accomplishment. She realized that humanity's greatest strength in the universe was not weapons, not machines, but the ability to listen, to act with empathy, and to stand courageously in the face of danger. This child and its mother had reminded her of what it meant to be human. In the following days, Elena and the child explored more of the valley. The child showed her hidden pools of water, fields of glowing plants, and small creatures that interacted with the aliens in ways humans could barely comprehend. Elena documented everything, realizing that this planet held secrets not just about life, but about the potential of humans to interact with it responsibly. Each discovery strengthened her conviction that humanity had a role to play in protecting and understanding the universe, and that compassion and courage were as vital as any technology. One afternoon, while collecting samples, they noticed changes in the distant cliffs. Shadows moved strangely, and the faint glow of other life forms appeared on the horizon. Elena's pulse quickened. She realized that the planet was not entirely uninhabited. Other creatures, possibly more advanced or more dangerous, were observing them. She knew that their mission had entered a new stage. Protecting the aliens, learning from them, and ensuring their survival required vigilance, strategy, and the unique qualities that only humans could bring: intuition, empathy, and bravery. As the sun dipped low, casting long shadows over the valley, the child climbed into Elena's lap. Its tiny hands grasped hers, and she felt a profound connection. She whispered softly, "We'll keep you safe. I promise." The child's glow brightened, and Elena felt warmth and trust radiating through her. The bond between human and alien was growing, a bridge between species that would shape the days to come. By the end of Part 2, Elena understood that the child was not just a guide or a dependent being. It was a teacher. The Varelians had shown her and her crew that survival was not merely about technology, strength, or strategy. It was about understanding, compassion, and the courage to act when it mattered most. Humanity had a unique role in the universe, and in this remote valley, surrounded by jagged cliffs and alien life, that truth had never been clearer. Elena looked out over the green plains, the twin suns casting their soft glow, and felt hope. The universe was vast, full of dangers and wonders, but humans could rise to the challenge. They could listen to a child's plea across species, act to protect life, and prove that empathy and bravery could change the course of events. The mother alien, now recovering, lay quietly, her body pulsing gently in rhythm with her child. Elena knew that their journey was only beginning, that challenges would come, and that the bond between human and alien would be tested. But she also knew that humans had something no machine or weapon could replace, a heart capable of hearing cries for help, even when no one else could. And so, with night settling over the valley, Elena held the child close, feeling the weight of responsibility and the promise of hope. The stars above seemed to shine brighter, reflecting the possibility of alliances, understanding, and courage across the universe. This was more than a rescue mission. It was proof that humanity could make a difference, that compassion could bridge worlds, and that even in the vast, cold reaches of space, a single human heart could shine with warmth and purpose. The valley was quiet under the light of the twin suns, the jagged cliffs casting long, sharp shadows across the green plains. Elena stood at the edge of the shelter, her eyes scanning the horizon. The alien child clung to her side, its tiny hands gripping her jacket. The mother alien rested nearby, her glow soft and steady, a sign that she had regained strength. Despite the calm, Elena felt tension knotting in her chest. Something was coming. She had sensed movement in the distance for several days now, shifts in shadows, flashes of light, and subtle changes in the landscape that the sensors could not explain. The instruments picked up nothing unusual, but Elena's instincts told her the valley was not as empty as it appeared. She crouched down, letting the child rest its glowing head against her shoulder. "Stay close," she whispered. "We may have company soon, and we need to be ready." The child's luminescent skin flickered nervously, and its small hand pressed against Elena's arm. As the sun climbed higher, the first signs of the other beings became visible. Across the cliffs, small figures moved with purpose, their shapes alien and unfamiliar. They were humanoid in some ways, but their skin was a dull, metallic gray, and their eyes glowed a harsh red. Elena's heart sank. She had encountered hostile alien factions before, but none so deliberately silent and watchful. These beings seemed to be studying them, waiting for a moment of weakness. She gathered her crew quietly. "We are not outnumbered yet, but we could be. Our priority is the Varelians."
Keep them safe and follow my lead. No one engages without a plan.
Marcus nodded, his jaw tight.
Understood, Captain. The rest of the team prepared defensive measures, setting up shields, energy barriers, and early warning sensors.
The child watched silently, glowing softly as it seemed to sense the tension. The first approach came in the form of shadows moving over the rocky ridges. Elena's team readied themselves as the intruders descended. The humanoid figures were fast, precise, and coordinated, moving like a single organism. They paused at the edge of the valley, scanning the terrain. Elena realized that these invaders were not merely predators. They were intelligent, tactical, and perhaps aware of the Varelians' presence. The child shifted in her arms, and images flashed in Elena's mind, warning signals, past events, strategies. The Varelians communicated not only through sound or light, but through instinctive awareness, something humans could feel if they opened themselves to it. Elena adjusted her plan, relying not just on technology, but on human intuition and understanding. She moved the mother alien to a safer position, using the portable shields to create a barrier while keeping the child close. The first wave of the invaders approached, their red eyes scanning for signs of movement. Elena's crew hesitated, unsure whether to engage or wait.
She gritted her teeth. We do not attack.
We defend and we protect. If they harm the child or the mother, we respond with force. But not before. Watch, listen, and be ready. The child's glow flared in agreement, projecting images of possible strategies. Elena followed its guidance, understanding that this small being was now a partner in survival. The invaders tested the perimeter, sending small probes that hovered silently, scanning the valley. Elena instructed her team to create a layered defense using energy shields and motion trackers, but the real advantage came from the child. It stepped forward cautiously, glowing brightly, and the invaders hesitated. Elena felt the child's mind reaching out, influencing their perception subtly, making them unsure and hesitant. It was a moment of wonder, an alien child guiding humanity in ways no weapon or machine could. As the standoff continued, Elena realized that relying solely on technology would not be enough. She took a deep breath, letting herself feel the rhythms of the valley, the winds, the light, the vibrations of the Varelians and the child. Her heart synced with theirs, and she felt a surge of clarity. The invaders were testing for fear. They sought weakness, hesitation, and doubt. Humans and Varelians together could turn that fear into strength. Elena signaled her crew. Move carefully. Coordinate with me. Trust the child. One by one, the humans adjusted their positions, working in harmony with the child's projections. The mother alien remained calm, her presence stabilizing the child and sending a subtle pulse of reassurance. The invaders began to show signs of confusion, stepping back as the humans and aliens held their ground. Elena felt a surge of pride and determination. This was humanity at its finest, courageous, strategic, and compassionate. Suddenly, the invaders advanced aggressively, and the valley erupted into controlled chaos. Elena's team activated shields, creating protective corridors. The invaders tested their defenses, but every move was anticipated, thanks to the child's insights. The humans adapted, combining technology with instinct. The invaders were strong and fast, but they were not coordinated in the same way. The humans and aliens moved as one, a seamless alliance that no one could predict. Elena's mind was clear and focused. She realized that the Varelians' telepathic connection amplified human presence. Every decision she made, every protective measure, was guided by empathy and strategy. She noticed patterns in the invaders' movements, predicting where they would strike next. Using portable drones, energy barriers, and the child's guidance, they created traps that disoriented the attackers. The battle lasted hours, but it was not won through brute force. Humans used their intelligence, observation, and creativity to counter the invaders. The child projected images that misled the intruders, while the mother's presence stabilized the environment, preventing harm to the valley itself. Elena realized that survival was not just about strength. It was about understanding, empathy, and the willingness to act in harmony with allies, no matter how different they were. Finally, the invaders retreated, hesitant and uncertain after repeated failures to break the alliance. The valley fell silent again, the tension slowly easing. Elena let herself breathe, her chest heavy with exhaustion but light with triumph. The child glowed brightly, a sign of relief and gratitude. The mother alien moved closer, her luminescent skin pulsing with calm. Elena knelt beside them, feeling the bond deepen. In the aftermath, she took stock of their situation. The valley was safe for now, but the invaders could return. They had learned something about humanity's resilience, courage, and compassion. The child had taught Elena that strength was not just in muscles or weapons, but in trust, empathy, and courage. Humanity could hear the cries of life that others ignored and act where no one else could. That was a gift that set them apart in the universe. Over the next days, Elena worked with her crew and the Varelians to rebuild and strengthen the valley's defenses. They reinforced natural barriers, planted protective flora, and established safe zones for the mother and child.
Every action was guided by observation, intuition, and mutual trust.
Elena marveled at how the child communicated, not through words alone, but through emotion, images, and energy. It was teaching her a new way to understand life, one that blended human reasoning with alien instinct. The mother alien began to regain strength more quickly. She moved with grace, guiding Elena and her team to hidden springs and fields of medicinal plants. The child mirrored her actions, glowing and pulsing with emotion. Elena felt a sense of awe and responsibility. They were not just protecting life, they were learning from it, connecting across worlds, and proving that humanity had a unique role in the cosmos. One evening, as the twin suns set in muted green light, a new sound reached Elena's ears, a faint echo of distant activity. She looked toward the horizon, feeling the stirrings of another challenge. The valley was peaceful, but the universe was vast and unpredictable. She knew that the alliance they had formed, fragile as it was, would be tested again. Yet she felt confidence. Humans had something extraordinary. The ability to act with heart, to connect across species, and to rise when others might falter. The child climbed into her lap, and Elena held it close. Its glow was steady and bright, reflecting trust and connection. The mother rested nearby, her presence a constant source of calm and guidance. Elena realized that the survival of the Varelians, at least in this moment, depended on human courage, wisdom, and empathy. She also understood that this experience had changed her crew. They had witnessed humanity at its best, and they would carry this understanding into the stars, wherever they went. Elena looked out over the valley, feeling the weight of responsibility and the spark of hope. The invaders had been repelled, but the lesson was clear. Survival was not just about power. It was about understanding, cooperation, and the courage to stand for what was right. Humanity could shine where no one else could, proving that in a vast, indifferent universe, their hearts and minds were formidable forces. The child's luminescence shifted, conveying joy and relief. Elena smiled softly, her hand resting on its tiny back. They had survived the first true test, but more challenges lay ahead. She felt a renewed determination. Humans had the power to protect, to connect, and to inspire across worlds. The Varelians had shown her that even the smallest life could teach immense lessons, and that listening to a cry for help was a responsibility, not a choice. As night fell, the stars above reflected in the soft glow of the valley. Elena stayed with the mother and child, feeling a deep connection to both the aliens and the universe itself. This was the essence of humanity's role in the cosmos: to care, to act, and to rise to challenges no one else could face. The child stirred in her lap, its glow soft and steady, and Elena whispered, "We will face whatever comes together. You are safe, and we will protect you." The bond between human and alien had strengthened beyond words. It was a partnership built on trust, empathy, and courage. Elena knew that the story of this valley, this child, and its mother was only beginning. Together, they had proven that humans could make a difference, that compassion and bravery could hold back darkness, and that life, in all its forms, was worth defending with every ounce of strength and heart they possessed. And so, with the twin moons rising over the cliffs and the stars casting pale light across the valley, Elena felt a profound sense of purpose. Humanity had been tested, and it had risen. The child and its mother were safe for now, and the lesson was clear. In a universe filled with unknown dangers, humans could shine brighter than any star through their courage, empathy, and willingness to act when no one else could.